Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. You know what? I totally forgot to let everybody know in the tribe that we are live. So I'm going to do that right now. But I hope you all have had a wonderful day today, and that you are ready to receive what Milton has tonight. And as you know, this month we're talking about money, 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 money. And
Yes.
and this is a topic that Milton is an expert on. So I know that you all are going to really be inspired by him, and I'm so excited. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have him to introduce himself to you all, and and it'll be all his. So please take notes, and I'll come back and um, we'll have like a Q&A session after he finishes sharing with you all. Thanks, Milton.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thank you for allowing me to come speak to your tribe. It's definitely an honor and a privilege. That's it. I'm Milton Johnson. I am a financial coach. And what I do, I help my clients reduce debt, increase their savings and investments for their retirement and financial goals. And so you probably read my bio, but I just said a little bit. I have an accounting degree from Albany State University, the unsinkable Albany State Rams, go Rams, and I also worked as a financial advisor with a brokerage firm. Some of you may have heard of Edward Jones, and that was where I actually got my start as a financial advisor, working with them, E-Trade Financial, then worked with some other tax companies as well over the past several years. So it's definitely been an honor to actually work with finance and also in the church. Worked over 20 some years in all capacity of finance, being a board member, um, all aspects of finance. So leading that area, and there's an honor doing that as well. But here I want to be able to talk about finance and be able to impart something in you today. Hopefully you have some takeaways that can add to your nuggets, make your life a little bit more interesting. Hopefully, get some your mind churning, and definitely your finances. Definitely want that in order. We want everything in order. So we want sometimes as a minister as well to deal with the spiritual aspect. So I like to deal with spiritual, the mental, emotional, but also a lot of times sometimes we want to deal with the whole person. The finance is definitely a key part in your overall financial overall health. So we're going to get started. And my thing is helping people get towards financial freedom. And I know freedom looks different to everyone. It may mean having enough savings and investment and cash on hand to afford the lifestyle you want for you and your family. And so it's very important for people who are looking for financial freedom to grow a nest egg, maybe thinking about retiring or starting another career or starting a business, such as I did. It definitely was you know some changes, and so you want to set a roadmap for you for your financial freedom. And unfortunately, a lot of people fall short of their financial freedom, of what they think financial freedom means to them. And so occasionally we're going to have some financial emergencies. I mean, escalating debt. We have inflation that is going higher and higher. And so there are a lot of things that may come into play when we're reaching financial freedom. But we're going to have some several takeaways I think that are going to help you out. I want you to be able to, some key takeaway I want you to think about is setting some goals, some life goals, making a budget, paying off some credit cards, creating automatic savings, and just taking care of your belongings. As far as maintenance is cheaper than replacement. So maintaining the things that you do have, taking good care of so it can last a long time for you. And one of the things I want to talk about starting off is you need to know your why. Why do you want to have financial freedom? What is it that's going to make you get up every morning and said, I need to do this to create financial freedom. And I want to start off with a story with myself. When I was younger, we lived in Detroit, Michigan. Then we moved my first 8 years in Detroit. And then we were living great in Detroit. My mom and dad were together. And so things were pretty good then. I had a decent job. My mom, she came to Georgia. Uh, my, and life changed. Her and my dad separated during that time. And that was a great struggle. As a child, I could understand why we were living like this. My mom was struggling. I was used to living in a 2-story house, 2 cars, no worry about anything. Now we live in a small 1-story house that looked like something I really didn't want to live in. And the struggle bus began for us. My mom, single mom, taking care of my brother and I. It was a struggle with her finances. She did the very best she could as far as getting the job, the things that we needed. And so, but I heard the phones ring, the threats of eviction, coming to repossess the car, you know, struggling even just to get enough food. Mom had to get food stamps and things of that nature. And so I saw her struggle. And during that time, I was like, I don't want to be able to have my children go through this, or when I get older, I don't want to struggle in life. And so when I was younger, when I got any extra money or occasionally may get some type of allowance or something during my birthday, I always save something. And that's something I just learned in myself. I need to save something no matter what it is. I was always saving a small part. If I got $5, I would try to save $1. I was going to save something no matter what. So I had that instilled in me. That's something I grew up with from a child on up into adulthood when I was going to college. And so when I got married, I was in the Marine Corps Reserves. And I was attending college at that time as well. And while I was attending college, I was working part time. And what I would do with my reserve check, I would actually started saving that, not spending that at all. So I had that going to an automatic saving. And so what I was able to do, I was able to actually save some money to, once I left my mom's house, put a down payment on a house that I was able to move from my house into a house. And when I got married, a few weeks later, we had our own house to move into. So I had to develop my why about my financial freedom. I didn't want to live like the past. I wanted to create a future for myself. I didn't want my kids to struggle. I didn't want to have a struggling family. So I said, I'm going to do what it takes to make sure we did not fall into that same category or fall into that same situation with that. So the first few years, man, was great. The thing about that, I didn't have any late bills at all. I had a strategy structure in which I actually paid my bills and marked them off, paid my bills on time every day for years. So I did that for several years. And the thing about it is to maintain the course. The thing about it, I fell off course. Man, why did I do that? I started to look at some other things. I want a bigger house. I want cars, and you start thinking like that. I didn't have a financial professional to actually look towards that I went to give me any type of guidance. Everybody told me I was doing great. You were one of the ones that are doing very well, and I was doing well. But the thing is to maintain the course, and I didn't maintain the course. That's the thing about it. I didn't maintain what I was doing. I started spending more money, started getting into some credit card debt. And to make a long story short, I ended up having to file for bankruptcy, something I never thought I would endure or have to do ever in my life. But it got to that point where I was like, man, and the big thing about it at that time when I was considering bankruptcy, I actually was making more money than I had ever made. Actually, I had gotten promotions a few years earlier than that. So let you know that it's not just the money for financial freedom. This is how you manage that money that is given to you. And so I became a poor steward of what God had given me in that money. And so I wasn't using it effectively, and I had to file bankruptcy as a result of that. And I was like, I had to take a long, deep look within myself of the mistakes I made and how to come out of that. And as a result of God's grace, I was able to say, okay, I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to move up and get out of the rut that I was in. So I had to change my mindset again and say, I'm going to move into another house because we lost the house that we were in. We moved into an apartment at that time. But I changed my mindset. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing. I was saving. So I had to go back and start just saving and start saving and get back into the attitude of I want a financial freedom life. So that's what I actually had to do. And that's my why. And so I started to set some specific goals. And that's what you would need to do. That's one thing. Set specific goals, what I would call SMART goals. They're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, and they're time defined. And so when I went into that apartment, I was like, we gave ourselves 2 years to get out of that apartment. We said, we're going to start saving money, my wife and I, to make sure that this is not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be homeowners. We're supposed to be owning things, having equity. And that was my mindset. Some people say apartment is fine for them. And if that's what you want to do and you know how to make it work for you, that's your goal. But in my mind, I want to be a homeowner. And my way was that is a way of growing wealth, having equity in your home. And so that was my goal to actually get back to owning another home. So I had to set a goal. And with me and by me setting that goal, in 2.5 years, we were able to move out of that apartment and into another home. And this was even a more modern home than the one we had before. But we had to be strategic with our planning. And so you want to set a goal whenever you do that and when you make that goal, number two, you want to actually set a budget. And I would recommend having a zero-based budget. And you say, what is a zero-based budget? And this is a budget in which all of your income is brought together. This is your side hustle. If you're getting any type of other income besides your regular income, you bring all of that in, and they're going to be minus all of your expenses. And by the time you get all of your income minus your expenses, it should be zero. So what a good example of that is that if you have your housing, your car, utilities, and food, I use those four things, and then you budget that out, and then you want to budget some things out as far as being able to have some fun, so be able to enjoy some of your money. You don't want to leave that out. So budget something for you to be able to enjoy, be able to go out with the family sometime, eat out, enjoy life. And I say that with caution because sometimes we have too much fun, and that's the reason for the budget. We eat out too much beyond our budget, or either we spend too much with, especially when I see a lot of my clients, like say Amazon, other types of online shopping that actually eat away. There's nothing wrong with that, but finding that right balance to be able to make it work for you. That's the kicker right there. How can you find something that balances it out without going and sinking your budget? A lot of people I've talked to, like, I don't see how I can have a budget, but you can make it work. If you have a mindset that I'm willing to make it work, and then you keep your why in front of you, hey, you're going to do that. And I would encourage you to actually write it down and put it in a place that you can see every day about the goals that you want to set. I mean, you may want to put it in your bathroom window. I mean, you go there every day, or either the refrigerator, and you'll be able to look at that. My daughter actually did that when she was a senior in college, and she set some goals she wanted to do. And one of those goals was to go to the University of Georgia. She was talking to a lot of different colleges, had a lot of offers, things of that nature. But one of her major goals was, she had a lot of other goals that she had, but one of her main goals was to attend the University of Georgia and how to get there. She had some specific goals about, what she wanted to make on the SAT and things of that nature. And she worked towards that goal. And as a result of her writing it down, praying about, looking at it every day, it was in the back of her mind. She actually attended the University of Georgia and graduated with 2 degrees and a minor. So letting you know that if you write it down, look at it, put it in front of you daily, uh, it could be done. I know, like the goals my wife and I set. I know we start checking off. We had a checklist. So we achieved these goals. Okay, we got that. We got this. We got this. And then we could see where we were at. But write it down so not only you can see it, but your spouse and your family, they can see what we're trying to get, where we're trying to go with that. And a budget would actually help you stay that course. Will be able to help you pay the bills that need to be paid. I will say a lot of people, they don't pay the bills first. They actually spend, from what I've seen, so some, not all of my clients, but it's good to have a good time. But their bills are taking bill money used with the good time. You want to go out, turn up, and enjoy life. But this budget is here to keep you focused, to bring reality to where you are at in your financial situation. So take heed of that budget, get there, and that's when you may need that accountability person, someone to help you stay focused on your budget, to make sure that you're not going over, talking to you on a regular basis until you get into the habit of actually doing it. And usually, if you're tracking your expenses, you will be surprised of where you are at. I always encourage my clients to actually track their expense at least a minimum of 30 days, and they are surprised where their money is going after tracking their expenses. And then are able to create a reasonable budget for them doing that. And, and one other thing you will want to do is create a fully funded emergency fund. Now, this is one of the most important aspect of that, because I went into situations. I was looking at when I actually had to file bankruptcy. I didn't have an emergency fund that I really needed it at that time. And that time I lost a job, I didn't have the emergency fund I needed to really sustain. And I was working with this contractor at a different situation. I had learned before I need to just start saving money, and we lost our contract. And so, but when we lost the contract, I had some money saved up. I learned from past experience, at least have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. And as a result of me having that money, we didn't lose a house, we didn't lose a car, we didn't lose any furniture. Matter of fact, we didn't lose anything. We was able to weather the storm until I was able to get something else to start moving us where we need to be. So that was a learning experience, and some of us should have learned a few years ago when COVID hit. The pandemic shut the economy down, and a lot of people did not have an emergency fund set up, and so some people actually had to endure some heartaches, hardships. Even if you have a 401k plan, some people don't have a 401k plan. You can borrow from that during that time. I would recommend not borrowing if you don't have to, but if you get started with a 401k plan, get that started. If you haven't got started, get started immediately, because you can use that. Take advantage of a match. Of if your employer offer any type of match, you want to take advantage of that. They're offering 2, 3, 6% match. That is free money. Don't let that go to the wayside. I've seen a lot of people do that. I don't have a 401k. I don't have any type of retirement savings. And if they're offering a match, make sure you take advantage of that for your retirement during that time. And then with COVID, you were actually able to borrow from your 401k plan, use that. And then if it was used for emergencies, you didn't have to pay that 10% penalty if you were not 59 and a half during that time. So there's some advantage of actually saving your money. But make sure you have that fully funded emergency fund. Another thing I see that stopping people from achieving financial freedom is having a whole lot of debt. And that's what I had. Whole lot of debt that was just weighing me down, weighing my mind down. And how many people are being weighed down by a lot of debt? So you want to try to reduce that debt or either pay it off, get rid of. So if you can't pay it off, meaning try to reduce some of it a little bit at a time. You're like, how can I do that? If there's a way, if you don't have money, use people say I don't have enough money. So this is the time to actually get resourceful. If I don't have enough money, I may have to actually get a side hustle. I may have to get another job for a short period of time, or I may have to reduce some costs, cut some expenses if I can, to actually make sure that I'm actually paying or reducing my debt. Because that debt, too much debt, it can be a weight on you. And some of the most powerful debt I've seen that's weighing people down is the student loan debt. If you owe debt to the IRS, and one of the most prevalent one is credit card debt. So you want to definitely reduce that. Most importantly, try to pay that off as soon as possible. You pay that off, you definitely have a greater chance of reaching the financial freedom that you're looking for you and your family. And another thing you want to try to do is create automatic savings. So this takes the guesswork out of what you need to do. I created a $50 a month challenge in my Facebook group, and a lot of people said, "Well, this is a small amount of money." It is a small amount of money, but it's also to actually challenge your mind, get you in a habit of actually saving money. That's one of the most important things. Get you saving money. When you do automatic saving, it come out automatically into another account that you cannot easily access. So you don't want to save the $50 a month and then spend $25 of it. So this is money that you want to be able to save and don't touch and let it grow. And you're gonna be surprised over time if you do this, how it is going to grow. When I used to be with another job, we had a plan in which we would put $6 a week in this specific high savings account and pay interest of around 15, 16% at that time. And if you just left that over years, we had thousands of dollars. I was amazed how $6 a week could grow. And it grew so fast. I was like, wow, just saving automatic, not thinking about it, not touching it. It grew tremendously. And you can do the same thing with automatic saving, put it into a savings account, and also investing. You could do automatic savings into automatic investing as well. $50 going into a mutual fund, or you could open up a brokerage account and have money going into buying different stocks over a period of time. Now you can buy fractional shares of stocks with automatic savings. So there's nothing really stopping you but you. You just have to get in the mindset of saving, because a lot of people say $50 isn't a much. You're like, right. If you break it down, that's that's less than $2 a day. That's like a cup of coffee. So you may just have to cut back on probably going out once a week or twice a week or whatever it may be to get that $50 at least a minimum. If you can do more, hey, go for it. You can do 100, 200, $300. Do the most that you can do to actually start saving and investing your money over the long term, because the stock market over the long term, and I can say this as a former financial advisor, that it will grow. I know a lot of my clients that I had that were my clients before years ago, they were like, man, the investment that you had me in has grown a lot. I made a lot of money. They're making money over a long period of time. It's like, well, great. As long as you stick with it over a long period of time, you can see great result, because the stock market is volatile. It goes up and down. And so you got to try to balance that out with longevity, consistent investments over a long period of time. So make sure that's automatically done, so you don't even have to start thinking about it. Another thing you will want to do is watch your credit score. Keep an eye on it. It's amazing to me. Some people don't know what their credit score is or what even is affecting their credit. I mean, you have three main credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You need to be checking those at least. You can check it at least. You get a free report at least once from each company, so you can check at least 3 times a year. And one way to do it is do it at least every quarter. So 4 months, you can check Equifax. Another 4 months, you can use TransUnion, and then another one, then you can use uh, Experian on that. So make it work for you, but make sure that you're checking your credit. This one thing that happened to me years ago. I was about to do something, and it came with my credit report that I actually owed some money for a car, a vehicle. I was like, I know I don't owe the money. I paid that off. Matter of fact, it was a vehicle that had my son had wrecked it. It was totally lost, and I used the insurance payoff to pay it off. But it was actually still showing on my credit as being open. And so what I actually had to do was reach out, write a letter at that time and get it taken off of my credit report. So make sure you're checking that your credit report as well to make sure that there's nothing on your record that can actually bring your credit score down, because your credit score is so important as far as how much interest rate you're going to get on your house, how much interest rate you can get on your car. And I had some jobs that actually looked at my credit score. I was in finance. I've been in management and other leadership positions as well. And the one thing they want to make sure is that my credit score, they put me in this position, could I actually handle it? I mean, was my spending in up to par, I should say. So make sure that your credit report, everything is great before you move forward in doing that. Another thing you want to do is educate yourself. Stay educated on all financial issues and services. Different things that happen. A lot of people sure don't know, like about tax law, things of that nature, um, other investment, the basic finance. Just go on. You can go on different blogs. You go on YouTube. You can go to areas like what Tiffany had to try. She had different updates about money tips and money talk for different people. But try to stay educated on different financial issues. And it made me think about one thing I want to talk about is uh, life insurance for an inheritance. I think that's a question that was asked one time before. How can I use life insurance as an inheritance? Because sometimes we just look at life insurance just for burial. And I think we cut ourselves short and our family short when we do it that way, because it could be used as an income replacement. But the great thing about using it as an inheritance is that you don't have to, generally, insurance is not taxable income. So if you have a $250,000 policy, I would say, you have two children, you wanted to just leave them something, $125,000 a piece, and once you pass and get that money, I mean, it's not taxed. It's taxable, and you can leave something behind. And one thing I've seen some people do now, especially if they feel like their children not good with finance or money, I see them actually use insurance to actually open up a trust account, have that money used once they pass, it's put into a trust, and they're paid monthly income from it. And I know someone that actually did that personally. I was like, wow, that was amazing. They left the policy they had. They left their children like $300,000 a piece, and now they get a certain monthly income. And so that's something that you may want to keep in mind of doing as well. Something similar, may not be that much, but use that insurance as an inheritance. If you want to leave something behind, hey, you can actually write out a will of the specific amount that you want left to either. It may not be your church, it may be whatever beneficiary you may want to go to. You may want to leave it to a nonprofit organization. I see some people are doing that, getting insurance policy to leave it to their church or their favorite charity. So make sure you talk to your insurance agent and see if you want to do that. What's the best plans for you, and make sure that that happens as well. Another thing I would suggest you do as well is have live frugal, live below your means. I think having a frugal lifestyle is very important. Um, Sometimes we live way above our means, and that will bring us down in a lot of our situations. But just think if you're making $100,000 a year income, and you don't live like $100,000. You live like you may make 75, 80,000. That's just an example. And that way you can control uh, how much you're spending. I'm not going above my means. I'm controlling my money. My money is a control of me. Because I see a lot of people mentality is now I need to show them that I can buy a house. I can show them the car that I can drive. I can show them how I can dress this type of way. I can show them the jewelry that I wear. So we're trying to keep up with the Joneses and try to impress people that really don't really care so much about us. They see you up, they may say some nice thing, oh, that's a nice car, that's a nice house. But if you can't afford to maintain it, and if you lose it, they're gonna like just think about the backlash. Well, they thought they was somebody. I knew they couldn't maintain the house. Just think what people say behind your back when you start to fall, when you start to go up under it. Sometimes they could be mean and try to kick you under. But try to live a frugal lifestyle, so you can maintain stability. You can get some of the things that you want. You still saving. You still trying to get higher income. So you're still pushing those goals forward and doing that. Don't try to live for the Jones. Don't try to have that social media lifestyle. I know it looks good on social media. You want to be on the ground looking great and all that. But I found out that some of those people actually don't have a whole lot of money. They may rent something. They may have a car, rent a car. When they post, I see the people posing with cars. That's not even their car. And then we're thinking like, man, wow, they're living big. They're living it up. Look at that nice car they're driving. Or either they may just put on they may have someone else, because I heard of that. They were having on someone else's outfit that looks real nice. They take a picture and then return it back, or they may take a picture, get it from the store, take a picture, return it back as well. There's so many crazy stories and ideas I heard about that. But you maintain yourself. You do who you need to do yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Be who you are, who God designed you to be. Have a strong mindset that what is for me is for me, what's for that other person is for them. And I think you would be okay with that. So go out, define what your financial freedom is to you. Don't let no one else define it for you, but you define it for yourself. And if you're married, no, you and your wife, your spouse, you get together, define what a financial freedom goal and roadmap look to you, and start working on that. Most important, I say, write it down. Get together. Uh, if you're married, hey, both it takes both of you all to make it work. If one person is on one page, others on a different page, sometimes it can fall through the cracks. But if both of you all on the same page, working toward the same goal, two people can be stronger than some division out there. So be strong together. And if you're single out there, put all you can into reaching your financial goal. I know that you're able to do it. I'm praying that you'll be able to do it. I know that with God, all things are possible. So strive for your financial goal. I know it's possible. It's going to happen for you. So I'm going to ask Tiffany to come back on in. I can't hear you now, Tiffany.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you
That
now.
was so good. I was over here taking notes. I mean, I've been seeing people, pop in and out on the between YouTube and Facebook, and I tell you, I've been over here taking notes. And so, if you all have
Okay.
any questions for Milton, I mean, he went from budgeting to saving to investment. He even touched on life insurance policies and how important it is for us to have life insurance policy. And you know what? It was so
Mhm.
interesting when you were talking. because I was thinking
Uh-huh.
how we as a Black community, we don't have all of this information in regards to life insurance policies, putting that in trust for our
Right.
kids. I mean, because I just heard about using life insurance policies for inheritance just a couple years ago.
Wow. Yes,
So
so
it,
right, and that's great. And you're so right. A lot of times we're not. A lot of times the conversation start with talking about life insurance in the first place, and what
Mhm.
is disappointing, especially when I talked with some people in the past about life insurance. They like, I don't really want to talk about life insurance. That's a touchy and hard subject to talk about. I don't want to think about my loved one dying. I was like, I know it's touchy, but all of us are going to leave one way or another. Now, you get a decision. You make have a chance to make a decision of what you leave your loved one. Do you want them to struggle? I mean, I'm tired of seeing GoFundMe accounts, or I've been in so many times where the family members have to pull together resources because there was no insurance policy, or if there was an insurance policy in place, it was just enough for the burial, and now the living spouse, now they had to struggle to meet those bills because it took two incomes, and now with that income gone, now they're struggling to make ends meet. And so you have to be receptive to life insurance policy first, to be able to actually get that knowledge, open up your minds to what it can actually do, and actually talk to your insurance agent. You don't have one, talk to someone in finance that's dealing with insurance, to be able to give you a good roadmap about how to use it. I mean, a lot of us don't talk about, like you said, estate planning, I would say. How we're going
Mhm.
to leave our estate behind to our loved ones. And insurance could be a very important estate planning, especially if you don't have a whole lot of money. You're not a millionaire, you don't have a big house, but you want to leave something behind. Estate planning with insurance is one of the definite ways to actually look at going, and talking to the good insurance agent. Hey, that can set you in the right way.
Yeah, and as I was thinking too, I mean, because I'm always thinking about our community and
Okay.
how
Yes.
finances really impact us as a
Right.
whole, and how, I mean, it's something that you said that really touched me, and how, we don't even want to think about dying. We don't want to think about preparing our family. So, how can we get past just that mindset to get to the
Right.
where we're actually thinking about, okay, how can I set my kids up? How can I set my spouse up or my future generations up for success when I'm gone? You
Right.
know, and then the fact of, I mean, just having the wherewithal to even do that.
Right. And that starts with educating yourself. And my dad did this a few years ago before he passed. He died in 2020 due to COVID.
I'm
And
sorry.
about 3 years before that, he actually brought all of us in, his children, it's like five of us. And he said he just want to have a conversation about, what if he, when he leaves from this earth, what he's going to leave behind. So he talked to us about his will. He talked to us about where the money's going to go, some things that laid out that he prepared before he even passed away. And so
Wow.
when he passed away in 2020, there was no arguing, there was no bickering, because we already knew everything had been laid out. So we had that conversation before that. And so usually for parents, I know that if their parents haven't started, they never talk to them about it. It may be hard, but somewhere we need to have that conversation. Someone had to say, "Well, I know it's a touchy situation. I know we got someone we're gonna pass. I see other people, die without insurance. I don't want to be in that same situation." Someone had to have the courage to step up and say, "Let's have that conversation. Let's look into it. Let's talk with someone that had that insurance knowledge. Let's talk with a good insurance agent, so put us at a better peace of mind." And I think once they start had someone step up, had that courage, and get the right information, I think it can start spreading. Maybe that person can tell someone else, to break that stereotype about the fear and that other person can tell someone else, and we slowly can break that stigma down brick by brick, one person at a time.
Yeah, it's good. And please, if you all have any questions, please put it in the chat because I'm gonna ask all the questions if not. But as you were talking, I was thinking about debt,
Okay.
and I know, well, I've been told that when someone passes away, their debt doesn't go away. Is that true? How important it is for us to have debt or not have debt when we pass?
Yes, usually that is true. Usually they would try to collect on that, but a lot of times, of course, um, if you can't pay it, your loved one can't pay it, then of course it just doesn't get paid. And most people mindset, well, they pass if it hurt their credit score, that's not going to matter. But if I said if you were married and if they pass, and if your name is also attached to say the house or that car, then you just can't let that go and just say, well, my wife or my husband has passed, I can no longer pay it. Then that becomes your debt yourself. And
Mm,
so if you don't have any insurance or any type of savings to pay that off, then it falls on that particular spouse. Um, but say for instance, you have like I see people with they may owe money to the IRS. Now, of course, if you die, they can't collect that debt.
right.
So that debt pretty much dies with itself unless you're married. And then of course you file it jointly, then of course that becomes their debt as well. So that's the problem I think a lot, especially when you're married, that debt falls on that other spouse for them to pay. And I seen one incident with I was working, they were working with E Trade at the time, and had a elderly lady. She was calling me and saying she didn't know anything about her husband's investment. He had a lot of stocks, he had different mutual funds, and her husband had never talked to her about investment. She really didn't know anything. She never took care of the bills. He had this old school. She's old up in age. Her husband had taken care of everything, and
Wow.
she was a stay-at-home mom, and she had no idea of what to do or where to start. And while I was talking with her, she started to cry about like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I lost my best friend, and now I don't know how to handle these finances. I don't know what's going on. Uh, I think I'm just going to lose it all. And so I had to pause and rest assure her, that I'm here for her, and that thing's
Mhm.
not going to be as bad as she think. But the takeaway from that is that both spouses they need to be educated on what is going on about the finances in the family. You may have one person that may be running that's in charge of the finances, but at least they should have an idea. Okay, if there's an insurance policy, where's that insurance policy at? Or if we have some type of investments, where are the investments? How does that look? So don't fall in that situation I saw. But late, she didn't have any idea. So really, that left her out for her to be taken advantage of. That's the way I looked at it. Especially she's an elderly lady. She didn't have any idea, and she could easily be taken advantage of if she came across the wrong person. And I hate to see that happen to anyone. So definitely make sure you're educating yourself a lot about different aspects of finance, and insurance is one of those things.
Yeah. I tell you, what we don't know can definitely hurt us, huh? I tell
Most
you.
definitely. It's so many things out there to learn, and I know everybody says so much information, but learn the
Mhm.
basic, and that's why it's so important. If you don't know everything, to get help, seek a professional to be able to give you the right guidance of where you need to go, because we don't know it all. Like I said, I
Mhm.
may know finances, and somebody may know stuff like you deal with marriages, co-parenting, and I may not be as well in other areas, and so I may need to go get help from someone else that may be an expert in that area. So where we're weak in, we need to find someone that's strong in that area to give us guidance of where we need to go.
That's the truth. That's the truth. But we're a village. We're a tribe. We supposed to help each other out and be there for
Right,
each other. What's the Bible say? Iron sharpens iron.
right, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And it was one other thing that you were talking about when you were talking about the savings, and I know I can't remember the statistic, but it talks about how so many people are living paycheck to paycheck. So
Oh,
if majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, that means they don't have a savings, they don't have an emergency fund. So I mean, how can you get to a position? Because I know you mentioned how you were able to, you filed for bankruptcy, you were in all of this debt, and you came from a point where you were able to have an emergency fund that was there when you needed it.
right,
So I mean, how can we, I guess, because when you're in so much debt, and I know you know how this feels, but when you're in so much debt, sometimes all you can see is that debt.
right,
You can't see, you know where you need to go, but you
right,
can't see, what steps you need to take every day to get there. So if I need to get an emergency fund, I mean, how can I save just to get, and I don't, how can I get an emergency fund and I can't even save, because I'm
right,
in all of this debt.
right. Yeah, so that's hard right there. And, a lot of people ask that question. How can I really say if I have all of this debt? And I was like, one thing you definitely want to kind of pay off the debt. But while I was doing that, save at least a little bit. Even if you had to save $5 a week, it may not be a lot. But if you multiply, 5 times 52, well, that's $256, I think, somewhere around there, $250, ballpark figure. You want to try to start saving it as little as possible. No, anything really. And then once you start seeing that you can actually save, say, $5 a week, you say, well, if I cut this out, I could save $7 a week. And then as you go along, you start tracking your expenses. You start looking at how you're spending your money, and then you start to develop a more cost conscious attitude. And I'll say that, for example, say for instance, if you like to go out and just say to a restaurant and you buy a certain food, and all of a sudden you might say, well, I may not need this appetizer. I usually get an appetizer. Maybe I may skip the appetizer and just get a regular meal. And I can
Or
say that,
dessert.
or dessert, for example. So you start making small little changes. And I see
Mhm.
that people, like, when they go out, they be socializing, and they may just want to say, well, let me just get this specific treat or treats. And when you go out now, you're like, well, I may not get this. I may just get one treat versus several treats or things of that nature. You start looking at everything, and that's the way I kind of look whenever we're spending money. And I know my wife may get tired, but like, well, how much did that cost? How much is that going to cost? Is it going to be in the budget? And so
I can only imagine how it is in your house. Not your wife is probably spending too, is it? Since you're the finance guy.
yeah, so it can be hard with them sometimes, and I kind of realized. So sometimes I had to dial it back because I know that's who I am.
Right.
I know I'm looking at every scenario, like, how can we save this money? And I
Mhm.
know she did the same thing to me. Yes, actually yesterday, I was cooking some pepperoni rolls, I think, and I was
Mhm.
like, she was telling me, said, yeah, just put the bag in a pan and do whatever. She said is in there. And so I put all of them in this pan,
Mhm.
and she came and said, you put all the pizza rolls in the pan? I said, yeah, I thought that was what you said. She said, well, I use half a bag when I do it. She said, you all talking about saving money, you use half that, and then you can use the other half at another time. I'm like, oh man, you're right. You just looking at different ways of how you get. I mean, instead of using it once, maybe to use
Right.
it twice, and so you start looking at different things like that in every aspect of your life without even. It just starts happening. It becomes a habit. Once you start getting on the road, you do it on a daily basis. Because some people try to wait until maybe they get like a bonus or either when income tax refund. Now I'm going to start saving. Now I'm going to start
Right.
doing this. But that's a one time, once a year mindset doesn't really work, doesn't really last. Now, if you're doing like an everyday, and that's why I like being a financial coach. It's like I'm helping with the everyday. Okay, this for the next 30 days, you need to be doing this, the day to day things to get you to where you need to be. Because you start thinking about wealth, it's actually like a daily decision of what you're doing. You're making daily decisions to make sure that your income stretched, that you can save. It's not like we try to look at it as something that happened once or twice a year. It's a daily way of how we live our lives, how we doing. I know sometimes even our children, I like to give treats for them, but sometimes I say, hey, okay, instead of us getting going to like a more expensive like ice cream place, we may go somewhere a little bit cheaper. We still getting the treat, but we're not paying
Mhm.
that higher price. And sometimes we may do that, and sometimes if things going great, get a reward. Hey, we may go out to something a little bit more expensive, but it won't be something like every week that we're doing. But we're going to do something that we enjoy ourselves when we get paid to make sure, because you got to have that sense of that mindset that I need to be enjoying the fruits of my labor. So you want to make sure you pay yourself first. Be mindful of the amount you pay yourself, but pay yourself as a way to enjoy life and be cautious about how much you're spending on a daily basis. And no, you may call yourself a penny pincher, but a pinch of those pennies, goes turns into dollars, and dollars turns into hundreds of dollars, and hundreds of dollars turns into 2,000. It rolls on like that, and so that's the way I like to look at it. Save a small amount of money for a bigger gain. Even try some challenges. I see different challenges about what the challenge we did last time. It was the dollar challenge where you save the first week you save a dollar, and every week you added a dollar to 2 weeks. The second week, the third week you're saving $3. And I think after that, if you save that amount, was able to save I think like $1,200 or more. That
Wow.
was a fun challenge to do with different people. Sometimes it's good to have fun with other people. Okay, we're gonna
Mhm.
see who can save this amount of money. You be creative with it. Sometimes you have to be creative, have fun with it, and then it makes it
Yeah.
more enjoyable than just, oh man, I gotta try to save this money. Let me do this.
Right.
Have some fun with find creative ways to make it a enjoyable experience, and I think it could go a long way doing that.
I like that because it definitely makes it more fun when you have people that are there to support you. Someone like you as a financial coach, and then you have a community that's there to support
Right.
you. Because when you talk about money, you talk about budgeting, and you talk about savings. I think a lot of times people they automatically think about what I can't do. You
Right.
know, so I
It's a
can't go
restriction
here.
on me.
Right, right, exactly. I can't go here. I can't do this. I know someone used to tell me, that they're not going to stop living, just
Right.
because. And I understand what they were saying, but my thing was, okay, but if you're trying to reach a certain place, this time is only temporary,
Right.
because we're going to release the reins the closer we get to where we want to be. But
Right.
then you also mentioned how it's a lifestyle. So if you do things every single day, then you will develop that habit.
Right.
And once you get there, you'll already have some habits that you've developed, and you'll find even new habits, and then because you're going to be looking for other goals that you want to reach, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, that's
So I'm
right.
sorry, go ahead.
That's so important. Like you said, that daily habit, you seeing things happening on train. I was thinking about myself
Mhm.
when you were saying that. When I started saving just small amounts of money, and then
Mhm.
after over time, it just start growing because we want to be consistent. And I think one of the most important things you need to be consistent in, is like retirement savings. 'Cause a lot of people say, well, I can't take it with me, so I'm going to spend all of it.
Oh yeah.
And I heard, and one guy I was talking to about this when I was a financial advisor. I said, well, really talking to him about life insurance and have leave something for his family. And he was
Mhm.
like, he had a selfish attitude. He said, well, I don't want to leave anything behind for my family. He said, because what if she used all that money to get remarried and they
I've
started
heard that too.
right? I said, what? I said, that's a selfish way of thinking about it. I said, but they don't want their love. I didn't enjoy it. They want to enjoy life. They make it out on their own. I was like, we got to change our mindset because if we want to leave legacies behind, it starts with a generation leaving another generation. I always think about the Kennedys of how they left trust. You see, one Kennedy, they always have some money left for the other Kennedy. It's always some money for all of these Kennedys, but they had to start with someone leaving a legacy, estate planning, letting it grow. And you have to think about, how do I want to leave a legacy for my family? Or
Yeah.
I would like to say, do you want your picture on the wall or do you want it off the wall? If they're
Mm.
broke and depressed, your picture come off the wall. If you leave some
Mm.
money behind, hey, everybody smiling, your picture stay right up there and everything. And I've seen some funeral where people that actually died with money. This guy was worth, him and the family worth like multi-million dollars. And I was a supervisor. I was in management at this time. So we went to his funeral because he was a major supplier. And I went there. There was hardly anyone crying. I was like,
Mm.
man, nobody was actually really upset. And, I reasoned that because he was rich. They didn't really have to worry about anything.
Oh
People lived,
wow.
he was an older guy, so that may be another. He died. He lived an old age. I think he was probably in his 80s or close to his 90s. And so, but nobody was really upset. And it was like a white funeral, so I haven't been too many. I think it's probably my first white funeral I had attended, and things were done so much differently than what
Yeah,
I was
they are.
used to. The funeral was a whole lot shorter. There wasn't a whole lot of things said. They said what they had to say. Was done with it.
Yeah, we have all this pomp and circumstance we got to do.
Yeah, so it was like, I was like, man, this is a nice funeral. But I seen funerals, especially like black funerals, which I'm used to, especially
Mhm.
if they're broke and they left with a lot of debt and man, they're crying. I mean, not only because they lost a loved one, but now they left with all this responsibility, no help, all they
Yeah,
gone, and nothing. I think they cry more than just the grief, but the responsibility that they had to face once they go back to reality. Once the grieving period, reality gonna slap them in the face. Now they got all these bills. Now they got to take care of the children by themselves. I see people have, like they had about 5, 6 children. Spouse died. I mean, what do? I mean, that's a lot of responsibility when you're used to two incomes. And so there's
yeah,
a lot of grief coming in there. So, but if you plan ahead of time, I told my wife, I said, I'm probably worth more dead than I am alive. I said, I said,
You
because
said you tell her, don't get no ideas now. Don't get no ideas.
well, I want to make sure, she's able to, keep living once I'm gone.
Right,
I don't want the things just to fall apart just because I left this earth. But I
right.
want her to still be able to live, enjoy life. I told her she want to get remarried. Hey, I'm dead anyway. Get remarried. It's up to you. It's your life. Whatever. I said, I give you permission. You're like, no, I'm not gonna get remarried. But I said, whatever you do. The point is, it's your time to continue to live. To live.
Yeah,
If I pass before her, I'm the one that's dead. You still alive. You need to still live. And then one way I can kind of help you live, continue to live, is have enough insurance for you to be able to live that life and not
yeah,
suffer. You already suffer because I'm gone. You'll need to suffer because of finances as well. So that's the
yeah,
mindset I kind of take in as a result of that. But everybody had a different mindset. So I try to help people see that way so they can change their mindset about, especially about insurance and leaving things behind for their family.
yeah. I think we are so concerned with the here and now. We don't think about the future, you
Right.
know, and that mindset of legacy. I mean, we want the legacy, but we don't do the everyday things. I mean, I can't help but to go back to what you were talking about, that, just doing the everyday things, and
Right.
the cutting back on certain things, and the saving, even if it's $5 a week, or $5 a day, or whatever it is that you can save. Because I think it's important when you are in so much debt or you have so much on you to be able to just do a little at a time and then watch it grow. And
Right.
then it kind of increases your faith in the area to where you're like, okay, well, maybe I can do this,
Right.
you know, but you just have to stick in there and hang in there.
Right. I seen that happen because someone convinced me to do that years ago. I was actually in college. I was working part time at UPS at the time, and one supervisor, he was a management real cool guy. He was like, Milton, hey, you need to start putting something into a 401k plan. I can't afford that. So I'm a college student. I'm going to school. I was helping my mom. I was paying the rent of the house at that time, and I was
Wow.
paying part of my college tuition. So I was like, I couldn't see doing that. He said, put 1% in there. He said, do put something in. He said, put 1%. He kept messing with me. I said, man, I said, let me go ahead and put 1%. And that 1%, I was like, man, that didn't really kill me. I was able to work around 1%. And then after that, I increased it to 2%. So I went up to 3%. That just started slowly increasing it. And sometimes that's where you may have to start off slow. Let's say 1%. Can you live without 1% and still make it work for you? I mean, I always say try to save first, and then try to work around the bills after that. Some people may be able to do that. Some people may not. But say for instance, the 1% is coming out first already, and you
Mm-hmm.
already say 1% of say as a part time, say $300 a week, and 1% what like $3 somewhere around there. Not having
Mm-hmm.
that $3, that wasn't going to kill me.
Right.
And so it kept building over time. I was like, and I saw for myself, it didn't kill me. I was like, okay, I can go up to 2%. And so the thing is, like I said, have faith that you can do it. Have that in mind, that end game in mind when you actually start doing. Can I do this? Yes, I can do it. Yet, and then start having that yes mentality. Yes, do you have faith? Yes, I can do it. I can go through this. I can go through this situation. I'm going to make it happen. I got to start somewhere. I may not be able to do 10%, but I could do 1%. I could start somewhere. And the main thing is just starting. I mean, even in small amounts. And then once you start doing it, like he did with me, I started. Then I'm like, my mindset changed. Like, I could do even more. But
Mm-hmm.
that's talking to the right people, being around the right people. I think that plays a part into it. Because if you get someone saying the same thing, you're right, man. You can't get 1%. You can't get nothing. I don't think.
That's
I
true.
can't. I don't see you doing that neither. I can't do it. And then
Right.
people saying the same thing. Of course, you're not going to do it. But you put something
Right.
so hey, you can do it. Yeah, I see
Mhm.
yourself achieving great things, doing great things in your life. You had greatness. God has some great things in store for you. And they start seeing something different and being around that mindset, that environment. It had to be in their mind first. And say, okay, I think I can do it. Okay, I could stop spending on this. Okay, if I went out to the club and I was drinking and smoking, maybe I could stop, going to the club, or maybe I need to stop drinking, or maybe stop smoking. It was
Mhm.
some habit I had doing. Maybe I could cut that out and start, save that or invest that. And I think that's where, like we say, we pay our tithes, give to God 10%.
Mhm.
We actually, disciplining our income, doing that. You start having a disciplined mindset, and you start
Mhm.
looking at things I need to participate in, or things I cannot afford to participate in.
Yeah.
I can't do everything because my income don't allow me to do that. It's structured for certain things. It's structured for this. I can't do this because I'm doing this. And so even if my flesh say do this, I'm like, I can't afford to do this. My income is for this specific person, the specific purpose. And so I'm focused on this. I'm zeroed in on it. And I know if I continue this path, I have faith to believe that I'm going to reap the benefits, not only me, but my family as well. So it's being around the right people, changing that mindset, sticking with it, being focused. Don't do like I did before, start off real strong at an early age. I was doing great and tremendous, then
Mhm.
fall off. But as you fall off, get back up again. You may fall down. Some people, I've seen some people that were embarrassed. I was embarrassed because here I am, an accounting degree, been in management, leadership position, been in grad school, and here I'm falling to the lowest point. But the thing it is, I like what I heard what Les Brown said. He said, if you fall, try to fall on your back. Because you
Mm,
fall on your back, if you look up, you can get up. So
wow.
I fell on my back, my lower. I said, I could look up to God. I know I can get up and change
Mm,
situations. And then if I fall again, guess what? I'm going to get back up. But I'm not going to stop trying. I'm going to
hmm.
keep trying no matter what. You can't give up. And I think
Yeah.
that's what people have done. If they didn't succeed the first time, they give up. Try again. If you give, I mean, it don't work, keep on trying till you find something that works for you that's doable for you and your family and for your situation. And that's the thing. Don't give up attitude. Keep pushing, keep persevering no matter what.
I tell you, that was so good, Milton. I think we're gonna end right there because I after that. That was so good. I mean, and I really hope everyone that's watching has really got something out of tonight. I know I have, and please share what you got in the comments as well, and just give Milton some fire emojis or something. Let him know that you got something out of tonight. And Milton, please let everybody know, how they can follow you, what you got going on. We might have to do a challenge with you this month, this money challenge you were talking about too.
Oh yeah, yes. But you can. My website is you go on www.solution2finances.com, or you go follow me on Facebook, Johnson Tax and Financial Solutions, or either my personal page, Milton J. Johnson Jr. Go on there. You get all the information available on there, especially go to my website. I'm trying to think of I can't even think of my Instagram, but if you go to my Facebook page, you can get some of the information for my Instagram. You type in Johnson Tax and Financial Solutions, it'll pop up on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube as well. Uh, it's made I can't remember all the channel, but I have the link in my page. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it there as well.
Okay.
So
And we'll
definitely reach
make
out.
sure I put that in the comments too, so everybody will have your contact information.
Okay, yeah, I definitely appreciate that.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you, Milton. I tell you, I'm going to start calling you the money man.
But
'Cause I tell you, you were giving us some gems tonight.
oh,
I
thank you
tell
for
you.
having me. I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. And then hope everyone can. My thing is for people to gain some knowledge and not only just hear the knowledge, but act upon the knowledge. Then they grow themselves, the family grow, and people around them grow as well. You want to be that one that transform lives. That's what I like people to do. Transform their lives and help other people transform their lives as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's what God's called us to do, isn't it?
Yeah, transformation agents.
That's right. Right. Transformation. That's right. Well, we thank you all so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you all next week. We have Q&A with Treve on next Monday, so please be looking out for that. And until then, thank you again, Milton, and y'all have a good night.
All right, be blessed.
Bye bye.